It's Wednesday night, and that means it's time for the Lamar Thomas Show, featuring the greatest receiver in the history of college football. Just ask them, Lamar Thomas.
I was born in Ocala, Florida. I moved to Gainesville to go to high school. Been recruited probably since the 9th grade, illegally, I might add, by the University of Florida. I still can remember Coach Solinger, Don Solinger, coming out to our practice one day. Here it is, this guy comes out in the University of Miami jacket, and I said, I can't believe that's Miami out here. And, you know, I wanted to go up and say, hey, I'm Lamar Thomas. And actually, I did walk up to him and I said, hey, Coach, I'm Lamar Thomas. And he said, I know. And that was the start of my relationship with the University of Miami.
Another good block, and Toretto lays it out.
You come down here, you'll be on TV every weekend, dominating. I thought about it. I said, man, where do I sign? My mom, on Saturday mornings, I would wake up and she'd be holding my hand. I thought she was the weirdest lady in the world. But she was holding my hands and she would be rubbing them and saying, one day these hands are gonna make you a lot of money. She was smart.
So now, here he is, the great one, along with co-host Gary Ferman of CaneSport.com, Lamar Thomas.
There he is, the great one, Lamar Thomas. How you doing, Lamar? It's been an interesting week.
Wow, to say the least, it has been an interesting week. I am at home tonight. I see you have the background. I wish I could put the background up, but my computer is a little too old and I'd be running too slow. But yeah, I got it. I don't think I've slept much this week.
I'll tell you. Let's first welcome everybody to this week's Lamar Thomas Show. Normally, Lamar is at CaneSwear, but tonight couldn't be there. You see the CaneSwear store behind me as I sit here tonight, and we'll be talking a lot about CaneSwear as the night goes on. Your go-to destination for all your Miami Hurricanes gear, the largest Canes merchandise store ever created. And so CaneSwear, and we'll be talking about them and some of our other sponsors here in a moment. But we welcome you to this week's Lamar Thomas Show. We got a lot of really exciting stuff for you guys tonight. Don Bailey Jr. himself is going to be joining us. And you guys know Don as one of the two radio voices of the Hurricanes every single game. And he's been doing it, God, probably for like 30 years now, something like that. He's gotten to suffer through a lot of these games alongside all of us out here and has a very unique perspective that he certainly will be bringing to the show later. And we'll also be joined by Mr. Nate Brooks, one of the more interesting former DBs that's ever played for the Miami Hurricanes. So he'll be on tonight's show as well. But before we get to our guest tonight, we have a lot to unwrap. Lamar, we're not going to sit here and dwell. And, you know, everybody knows what happened Saturday night. They've seen everybody take the blame. And I thought it was, very, very nice of the two coordinators on Monday to step up at the press conference and say we're to blame also. Maybe try to take a little bit of the heat off of Mario Cristobal. Let me start, Lamar. I can't remember seeing a reaction towards a head coach. And obviously it was a bad mistake. We're not going to sugarcoat it. But local media, national media was vicious. I mean, vicious. I mean, people coming after like Mario, like he had just like slit their throat
Right.
in screwing up that football game. You've been at all levels of this game as a player, as a coach, as a broadcaster. What were you thinking as you watched America? And I'll use I'll say America. As you watched America line up to just freaking annihilate the head coach.
Well, I'll tell you this. I got to be honest with you. They've been hating on us for a long time. And, you know, it's almost one of those cursed things where they want to see us back in the spotlight just to be able to curse us some more for all the crap that we were able to achieve back in the day. And, you know, Mario comes in with the type of swag and in your face and I'm going to get this done mentality. And, you know, it's rubbed some people the wrong way. But it's rubbed America the wrong way. I mean, when you got Paul Feinberg and all these people have no, you know, you need to stay in the SEC. You know, don't worry about what's going on down in South Florida. But everybody's just jumping on board, and that's okay. I look at it like this. If I'm Mario, it just gives me more fuel to burn the midnight oil even more, get these kids right. If he had any iota of, let him slide a little bit, hell no, not now. You know, it was a mistake on a lot of different levels. A lot of things were done at the end of that game that no one is proud of. But the most important thing right now is those kids getting that confidence to be able to go up to UNC and win that game. And again, I said it earlier on another podcast show, the saving grace or the cherry on the top will be TBD taking a knee at the end at UNC and winning that game.
Yeah, that would really, wouldn't that be something if that's
That would
how
be
it
awesome.
ends? If that's
That
how
would
it
be
ends this Saturday. In fact, you know, Matt Shodell, who works with us at CaneSport, we were talking about that on one of our shows. And I'm like, listen, I'm going to be there and I'm going to be the first one to ask Mario, how did it feel to take that knee? And Matt said, no, you can't ask that question. And come on, Mario at that point's got to laugh a little bit. I mean, you know, listen, you can't rewrite history. You can't go back in time and change it. Sometimes you can laugh at yourself a little bit. And I hope that Mario Cristobal finds the day here in the very near future that he can just smile and just get a little bit of that load that, you know, is on his chest right now. Just to lessen it a little bit, and by having something good happen. And yes, there is nothing, Lamar, that would be better than the North Carolina game ending with Tyler Van Dyke taking a knee.
That would be awesome. I mean, again, you know, I'm sitting here a couple minutes before we go on air, and I'm watching Urban Meyer talk about
the
situation. That's everybody in America has just piled on. I mean, my phone just has not continued, has not stopped ringing. Messages. I mean, it is what it is. Game's over. You know, should have been a win, wasn't a win. You can talk about the call at the end that could have been. It was just a bad deal at the end. But if you were able to go on from this game, put it together, beat UNC, beat Clemson, go into Florida State, and beat them, all this is truly, I mean, this is something that, hey, he might be able to look upon later. And hell, he might even make some damn T-shirts, you know?
Well, except if it goes that well and you're sitting there with one loss at the end of the year, you're saying, damn, if we had just taken a knee, we'd be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now, but we're not going to worry about all that right now.
I'm 100% behind the program and what's going on. You know, it's just unfortunate. It was a bad loss. It was a win, but we lost, and let's just move on. You know, we're hoping right now these kids are able to go up to UNC with confidence. It can't be doubting. It has to be confidence to go into that hostile environment where young ass Mac Brown has won a bunch of games and definitely owned us over the last couple of years. So let's put some more wrinkles on his face on Saturday night.
All right, so let me ask you this. You mentioned Urban Meyer, okay, and I saw what he said today too, and he was talking about all the different aspects of this, and I thought he was relatively diplomatic.
Yeah.
One thing he brought up I thought was really, really interesting. And that was the hardest part about this entire thing as a head coach is you now have to go face your football team. And you have to have something to say.
Right.
What do you think that was? Well, probably I mean, obviously he said something after the game, but where he really would have had something to say would have been Sunday when the team gathered, the day after to watch film or whatever. What do you think that message might have been?
I'm thinking that message had to be apologetic, because those kids need to feel as though, hey, everybody did their part in a way. We all had a part in it, whether it went good or bad. Sincere, definitely sincere to get up in front of his team and talk to them about what had happened. I mean, because I'm pretty sure those guys that played their butts off couldn't sleep, because that's a tough one. You can't even watch TV after losses like that because you don't want to see that. I didn't play
and I couldn't sleep.
Yeah, I haven't watched the highlights myself. But I think it was at the end, definitely more of this week is going to be a grind. It has to be a grind, and let's put it behind us and go up to UNC and kick their ass. I think that's how it had to go that way. 100% had to go that way because you got to be up front. And these kids, today's kids, they need to feel as though they're on your level in some way. Unfortunately, they want to feel like, okay, and they want to empathize with the coach and go, okay, he's just not a hard ass. He's really a human being, and we all make mistakes, and let's keep going and let's win some games. And I think if he comes across that way, those guys will be able to put it behind them this week. I mean, the week is halfway over right now. They got maybe 1 to 2 more practices, and it's only UNC. And that's what it's all about. It's not about Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech happened. It's done. It's gone. Can't cry. I mean, hell, the damn ACC officials even came out and covered their CYA, their behinds, and said, "Oh, we the calls should have stood." But if you see that camera angle, and again, I don't think they had all the proper views of it, but it is what it is. It came down to that, and Jimmy Johnson used to always say, "Don't let it come down to the hands of the officials," and it did.
Yeah. All right. So tonight's Lamar Thomas show, in addition to CaneSport, you see all the different sponsors' names scrolling beneath us here on the screen. The Florida Beach Bowl, a new game that is coming to Drive Pink Stadium in December. Started by a former Cane, and are we allowed yet to say who it is yet or no?
No, not yet. One more week. I think 1 more week. You get that
one more week.
Get that check in the deal. It's definitely a go.
Yeah, we'll be able to tell you guys who started this game, and it is a former Hurricane, and it's really cool. It's for historically Black colleges. It's going to be a bowl game at Drive Pink Stadium. They're one of our sponsors. Williamson Cadillac, the car dealership where Lamar buys all his vehicles, is a sponsor of tonight's show. The law firm of Rotson and Faxidomo is with us once again. We'll talk more about them later in the show. They are your go-to law firm if you ever get yourself in any kind of trouble. Okay, obviously you do not want that to happen, but boys will be boys. Things happen from time to time, and you need a good attorney. Well, they will certainly help you out. We'll talk more about them in the show. But right now we are going to bring in the voice of the fan, Mr. Bruce Warner, who represents a contingent that had quite an out-of-body experience last weekend. Bruce, listen, this fan base has been through a lot, okay? We've had a lot go on through the years, the last game in the Orange Bowl, getting blown out by Virginia, getting blown out by Clemson and Al Golden's last game, getting beaten by FIU of all teams, losing to Middle Tennessee, 20 years of underachievement. This fan base has been through it all, Bruce.
Yep.
Saturday night was right there with it. What is the mindset of the Canes fan right now as we sit here, four nights later?
Well, I was upset during the game, not just at the end. And that's one of my questions to LT is why was it so difficult for Miami to move the ball against that defense? Now, I know they were playing two deep safeties, but we looked very, very discombobulated the entire game. You know, those 3 picks were bad enough, thrown into double coverage. But, I mean, to me, the game, it's over. It still bothers me. But we have a chance to do something about it. So what I'm thinking is I believe that these kids are fired up to go up there. I believe it. I know you guys would come off a loss and you just beat the crap out of the next team. It was automatic almost. I don't know if that's still true because I don't like how we struggled offensively. So we can go up there. We're going to play very physical. I think we're going to play just as hard, if not harder, than we did against Texas A&M. I think we could beat these guys. I really do. I still think we're going to beat them. But God help us all if they kill us. And I don't want to say that, but it's a possibility. And everybody calls me Mr. Negative. I'm not negative. But if you think that Mario had heard it all this week, if we go up there and get swamped by them, wow, it's going to be ugly around here. You know, they'll be throwing around all the money he's making and whatever.
Let me ask you a question. Let me stop you for 1 second, Bruce, on that subject. I want to stop you for a minute because I've noticed this too. And I want to know, like, the University of Miami has totally stepped up in every way. They're investing in the program like they never have. They're getting ready to build the major facilities. They're recruiting at a high level like they haven't in recent times. Yada, 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 yada. Why is the Canes fan and I'm going to say so quick, and I know how bad it was Saturday night, no argument, no excuses. But why are so many of the fans so quick to jump on Mario to the degree that they are? And I don't disagree with you what the reaction would be if it goes bad on Saturday.
Right, we've seen it over the years, Gary. We've both seen those reactions.
But why? Is it anger? Is it built up anger? Are they mad about how much money he's making? Like, why is there so much anger to the point where people are so ready to jump on top of the head coach?
Well, you know what? I think, look, I'm not going to blame you, but I think you made him out to be like this Teflon coach, kind of like, you know, the guy up in who's dead now, the mafia guy.
I think he's our best shot, man. I think he's our best shot right now.
Of course he is.
To get this program.
But there's always negativity when you lose. Always. Our worst shows, and we keep winning. You don't have anybody to bitch and complain about. So that's why they jump on him, and he's an easy target, and he's an easy mark, but he's our head coach, and I don't think the players think the way some of these guys are thinking. It's just wrong. You know, and as soon as we beat North Carolina, they'll be saying, oh, Mario's the greatest. They don't know how to react to anything. They don't look at it from all angles and aspects. He made a mistake. We were winning. He got us to 4-0 and we're winning. Yeah, he made a big mistake, and we all know it. But if we beat North Carolina this week, I think a lot of that's going to be gone. Now,
LP?
I go back to the latter part of the Dennis Erickson stage. You know, that's when I think it started. We were so used to dominate. Now, they didn't get on Jimmy too much. I didn't hear much on Jimmy. But Dennis at the end, obviously they weren't winning, you know, maybe losing 2 or 3, maybe 3 games a year. That wasn't acceptable. And so this fan base decided to go on the you know, and go in on coaches. And then obviously we were able to win with Coker later on, but it's been one after the other, just our fan base. And not even our fan base, it's the outside noise too. That our fan base just jumps on board with it. Losses, they just can't deal with it because they were so used to the dominance of wearing that U and being able to say, so what? We win all the time. And so now every little loss, man, they've taken it to the head as far as, and now with Mario coming with all this, the hoopla, you know, him coming back home, people seeing the type of money he's making, his swag, his bravado, it's rubbed some people maybe the wrong way. You know, it is what it is. I mean, if Jimmy Johnson came back right now, I mean, he would have that same type of swag and bravado, but you know, as soon as he lose, they jump on him too right now. That's just today's beast of fans. Now having social media, it's nonstop.
Yeah,
it's not like some little guy that's 38 years old living in his mom's basement. Obviously not in Florida, but somewhere else can sit there and go in on Mario as hard as he wants. And if people are following him, then it gets spread to somebody else.
Lamar, I'm going to disagree with you. I think Gary might back me on this. Jimmy lost to that Doug Flutie pass, whatever the hell that was. They lost to Maryland. They blew a big lead. So don't say he went through this unscathed, because people were ripping. Who the hell is this guy from Arkansas who coached at Oklahoma State? What is he doing here? I mean, so he did get it. He did get it. But he turned it around real fast.
There you go. And that's how he was able to survive. I mean, it's all about the turnaround, and that's what Mario has been trying to work on, this big turnaround. And obviously we started out 4-0, you know, and we by a minute, well, I would say 40-some seconds, we should probably be 5-0, but it's all about the turnaround. He has to turn it around,
right.
And I know
you know what? This could be a blessing in disguise. These guys may be so jacked up that they really do go up there and beat North Carolina. I don't know. The way they played, had they taken a knee and won, I'm not sure how jacked up they'd be. They'd be excited for this game. But I think the attention to detail and the focus now is more intensified. And I think they're going to win this game. I just do.
You know, and I read Dennis Lopez said, you know, about the fan base made him out to be the savior. You know, I think it was our own coming back. You know, and that, I don't know if it was the savior, but it was more or less like, okay, you take some of these guys who've been in there. Obviously, Coach Rick, he's a good coach, really good coach. But 10 wins, 9 wins, our fan base said, no, we want more. You know, you take Manny. Manny has his ups and downs. We want more. And now Mario coming back, we give him all this money, and the fan base is like, okay, well, for those that don't know, we're supposed to win, and they're not realizing that it takes a lot to turn around a program, especially when it's been down in the dumps. I think he's going about it in a lot of the right ways. You know, obviously we talked about this earlier. Winning hides and takes care of a lot of ills. But you know, it is what it is. I still believe, because I know he cares, that he's the right man for the job.
Well, I'm gonna step up and say I'm guilty, Dennis. I mean, I was right there at the front saying that Mario Cristobal would be the savior of this program, and
he can still be the savior.
I 100%. I don't feel any differently after what happened Saturday night than I did a year and a half ago when he got here. And here's why. Because number one, he can recruit to the University of Miami at a level way higher than anybody else that they were going to put or be able to hire for that job.
I believe that. I truly believe that.
And at the end of the day, it's about the players. Okay. Now they've changed staff. They've improved the staff. Here he is in year 2. He had them a downed knee away from being 5-0 in the top 10. Okay. Or right on the cusp of the top 10 going up to North Carolina. That is not failure. Okay. He failed when he made a mistake on Saturday night. No argument. He's owned it. He needed to own it. It was a horrible, horrible mistake, and he certainly has paid the price. He will be remembered for that mistake for many years to come by everybody around the country. That was a career-altering mistake, okay? So he's going to pay the price for that. But he still remains the best chance that Miami has to get back in Lamar. So I'm going to come back to you, and I agree with you 100%. It's about how you bounce back from this. It is about the turnaround. How does this, I want to hear it as a player, how do these kids put that in the rearview mirror? That was a horrifying experience on Saturday night. How do they put it in the rearview mirror and bounce back on Saturday? I want to hear it from you as a coach. How do the coaches, who obviously had to eat it, how do they bounce back?
Right.
from this? And how do they walk out of North Carolina with a victory, having Tyler Van Dyke down the damn football at the end of the game?
Well, I tell you this, as a player, those players are going to have to come together and have some leadership meetings and just talk amongst themselves and just try to make sure they understand that, hey, okay, that happened. Let's move forward. We still have a whole season to go. Our goals are still attainable. Okay, it was a slip up. It shouldn't have happened. But you know what? God dang it, we're a good team and we're getting better. And that is the speech that they all need to have amongst each other. Forget all that. Hey, it happened. Let's just move on. Now, as coaches, they come in that staff room. They're disappointed. They're upset. I've been in that staff room where you're embarrassed. You're just, you've been beat down. But at the same time, you have to pull it up and say, okay, you know what? Hey, we got to translate and we got to get these kids going. Okay. We can't be moping around because these kids are moping around. They have to be upbeat. They have to, not saying that they're forgetting about it, but you got to be upbeat and keep pushing towards your goal. And if you do that and not dwelling on moping around and saying, oh man, woe is us, we lost. No, then you have a chance to go up to UNC and go out there brand new, thinking us against the world, because that's what it is. That locker room against the world. No one, we're on the outside. We're alumni. We're on the outside. You're fans. We're on the outside. But it's that locker room. It's that locker room against not only North Carolina, but the world.
I have another question for you, LT. And I don't know if anybody that's watching or listening or making comments for Gary, I did not see any coach, especially Dawson, go up to TVD while he was sitting on the bench, like with his head down, moping, and one of his teammates put his hands under his chin and lifted his head up, and he just gave him a slap in the back. But I didn't see Dawson do that. And I think that's a mistake for a kid that throws 3 picks like that. You got to keep him on the up and up, not let him sit there and mope, which is what he did. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I know you said that. I did see the kid go over and tap him on the chin. That's a tough situation. I can only think back to when I played and Gino was quarterback, Craig Erickson. It was always somebody around, whether it was to talk about that series or what happened. We always were somewhere close to him to be able to talk about. Sometimes we argued about, hey, I was fucking open. That was mostly me. I was open, buddy. But that's a bad game. And every quarterback's had those type of games. You just need a guy to step up and make plays for you. And I tell you this, at the end of that game, even when obviously if they win, you feel a lot better, but he still feels the same way. And I think that he's going to come out this week, Coach Dawson and him, with a better game plan than before and do some wonderful things against North Carolina.
Pinellas Kane is bringing something up here, Lamar. And
good point, too. This is a good point.
He thought that the game was conservative. They were running the ball up the middle a lot. Now, one thing I've noticed about Tyler Van Dyke, who has been great 90% of the time that he's played for the University of Miami, but when he gets into a game where the other team is playing coverage, so to speak, and is taking away a lot of what they like to do on offense, and he's a little confused about what's going on, he really struggled. He can really struggle in those situations. And Middle Tennessee did that to them in last season when they pulled that upset. And I thought there were a lot of similarities in this game the other night. And I didn't think that Tyler Van Dyke looked like himself the whole evening. I mean, he ended up with almost 300 yards passing, but throwing interceptions is not his thing. Like, he does not throw interceptions. He was confused. His timing was off. You could see he wasn't going through his progressions the way he normally would. I'm no expert on what Georgia Tech was doing in the defensive backfield, but they were clearly confusing him a little bit. Probably not too dissimilar to what Miami needs to do to Drake May on Saturday night. Yeah,
and also I think, Gary, he was forcing balls, but he never went. And LT, how many balls did he throw to his check down guy? There's got to be somebody on the left or the right of him that's a check down. He could dump it off to let him run, but don't throw picks with 2 guys on everybody. Where was that in the game?
I tell you this, Georgia Tech the week before had a terrible game. and I want to say they demoted their defensive coordinator. So you had a whole new, because obviously Bowling Green was able to run the ball straight up the middle. I watched the game. They were able to run the ball effectively straight up the middle. And so our game plan was maybe to do the same thing, but they changed it somehow. They were able to stop the run of the middle. I mean, we still had guys getting yards, but it wasn't breakaway runs. And then on the back end of it, they did some things in the secondary where they caused him to, he went maybe going after first or second read and throw interceptions. I didn't see him, like you said, he didn't go to a progression because most of the time he was throwing, and Restrepo did a great job of getting open. He was his security blanket, and I if I'm not recall, 2 of the interceptions he wasn't even in the game. So I mean,
there was one in the back of the end zone with no chance to catch the ball, and I still think we need a guy like Arroyo to help out. We need somebody else other than the receivers. A guy like Arroyo could run these crossing routes and whatever. That'll really help, and I hope he plays this week. Good.
Yeah.
All right. So if somebody said to me right now, name one guy who has lived through all these ups and downs for all these years and could absolutely speak on just about any subject, Miami Hurricanes, the first guy that I know I would think of would be Don Bailey Jr., who I also think of first when I need the floors of my house.
Yeah, me too.
Redone. And what flashes in my mind immediately is his naked dad up on a billboard when I was growing up in South Florida. And I used to say to my parents, "Look, that's porn. That's porn up there on the billboards." And then, of course, I grew up and I started out purchasing carpet, and I bought a few sets of carpet from Don Bailey. And now we don't do carpet anymore, Lamar. I don't know about your house, but we don't do carpet anymore. Now we've graduated to hard floors, and I've got every room in my house done by Don Bailey. But he is most known for being one of the true voices of the Miami Hurricanes, and he's going to join us right now. And DBJ, welcome to the Lamar Thomas Show. You got your microphone's not working.
Don, you
got to turn your microphone on. Your microphone's not working. You got yourself muted.
That's almost unbelievable.
Yeah. Guy does the radio for all these years. You can't even hear him.
Be under audio settings.
Nope.
Not yet.
He needs good engineer.
He looks good though.
I was looking back at his. I didn't know that he was with the Bucks and the Colts.
Yeah.
How about that?
He made a cameo.
Yeah. Not yet, Don.
Is that mic? The mic looks like it's still off.
There should be a setting. It says settings and audio, and you just select the right microphone.
How did he get that job?
That's a good question. If we can, we
want to hear
which one in this box has not gotten carpeting from him. This guy, LT.
Here, I'll tell you guys what. Bruce, you and Lamar talk to each other for a minute. I'm going to call Don on the phone and help him get this thing going, and we'll be back.
Okay.
I'm sitting here, Bruce, and I'm looking at this comment that I think Mayday Kane said that Dennis Lopez, that what hurts the most, that we won the game and then we gave it away. That hurt so bad. That was Mayday Kane. I mean,
we didn't play that well, Lamar. We didn't play
that well, but we
should have played them out. We wouldn't have had that problem.
Well, the problem is we played well enough to win. Yeah. I remember playing against Arizona my senior year. We won 8-7 at home, and we didn't play well.
I was there.
We didn't play well at all.
Is this going to be the blueprint to play against us now with the 2 deep safeties and just dare us to go over the top?
Well, I'll tell you this. One thing that we learned, looking back on that game was that, Arizona gave us a hard run. So all the good teams after that kind of copied Alabama copied Arizona and Florida State's defense, and they took a lot of things away from us. They did a lot of things differently. So yeah, it could be the blueprint, but that's why we have to go to practice and get better every day and compete, and go in there with a great game plan, knowing that you're going to have to make adjustments. That's the most important thing I think in game day coaching is being able to make adjustments, because that other person on the other side is getting paid also. Did he get it right?
I think so. I'm going to try to bring him back right now. Let's see. DBJ, can you hear me? You're on.
All right.
All right. We're good.
I can't believe you were silenced.
I think Gary sabotaged me. I think that was.
I can believe that.
I didn't want you to interrupt me while I was doing a commercial for the lifetime of Don Bailey carpets.
Well, hang on a minute now. Bruce did it. Bruce is a couple time customer.
Yes, he said that.
You're in the Hall of Fame of Don Bailey flooring, and Lamar, I don't know, but you need to come in and spend a little money with Don Bailey.
I can do that.
Those beautiful new floors at CaneSport, I appreciate the business there as well.
Good. Well, you're our friend, and that's where we go. It is what it is. Who am I going to go to?
Don, welcome. And you being a Hurricane, one of the Hurricanes has been pushed in the forefront, because you're always on the air talking about the Hurricanes. You've been through every coach. This is the question I'm going to ask you, because I've asked every Hurricane that's come on the show, starting off, why the University of Miami coming out of Hialeah, Miami Lakes? Why?
Pretty simple. I grew up in Miami, born and raised in Miami, and I went to Hialeah, Miami Lakes, and Joe Brodsky at the time was the head coach.
Joe Brodsky.
My dad and Joe Brodsky grew up together. They went to high school together, and Joe was best man in my dad's wedding and all those things. I grew up with all the Brodsky kids. So I grew up in North Miami, and I went all the way out to Miami Lakes to play football for my uncle, Joe Brodsky. And I get through my sophomore year, and I played JV. And my junior year, I don't play at all. And my senior year, Joe Brodsky leaves for the University of Miami. Yeah. And it actually couldn't have worked out better, because Mike Uspinski, who's no longer with us, was the head coach, and the offensive line coach was Walt Frazier, who went on to Carroll City, who to this day, I would tell you, since 1979, and I'm not exaggerating, 2 weeks have never gone by that I don't talk to him. I talk to him today. And and fortunately, he coached me up well enough to where I could get recruited. And the story kind of goes, I took a trip to Florida, and Charlie Pell was there, and I says, "There's no way I'm playing for these damn Gators, man." So we wiped that deal right off the map when he sat down on my visit. He says, "We know how you Miami boys are." I says, "Miami boys?" I'm thinking, I got your boy. I'm thinking. I said, "Miami boys," and that kind of got wiped off the list. And I had a good time at Florida State, but I wasn't really a Tallahassee guy. And Coach Bowden was great, and I had a shot to go to Minnesota. And I don't like it cold. I don't like anything colder than 80 degrees. And then we had Joe Brodsky at the University of Miami, where Coach Saban was there at the time. And from Arnie Romero, who was one of the greatest recruiters in the history of the world. And they were recruiting me pretty darn hard. And this is the God's truth. I was sitting in Coach Uspinski's office. It was the day before signing day. And they call me in and they say, "Hey, the coach is on the phone from Auburn." And they come get me, and they say, I go, "Yes, hey, Coach, how you doing? Blah, 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 blah." He says, "Look, we're coming down tomorrow to sign you. We're flying down. We're signing you tomorrow. Just make sure that everything's in place." And I said, "Hold on a minute, Coach." So the phone that had the red button where you press to hold it, right? And I put him on hold, and I pressed the other button, and I called my dad. And nobody could give me direction really at all. Like, nobody pushed me anyway. So
Did he have clothes on?
Huh?
Did he have clothes on when you called him?
He was work. He was dressed. Yeah, he was really working. So I pick up the phone. I go, Dad. I says, listen, the guy from Auburn's on the phone. I says, I really had a good time there. I said, I'm kind of torn between this. I love the University of Miami and Coach and Larry Brodsky's there and guys from my high school. And he says, listen, I got to ask you a question. Who the hell are we going to sell the floor to in Auburn, Alabama? I said, I don't know anybody we're going to sell the floor to in Auburn, Alabama. He says, tell that man you're going to the University of Miami and hang up the phone. That was it.
That was it.
And it turned out, it could not have turned out any better. Could not have turned out any better. I met my wife at the University of Miami, and we've been together for 40-some years. And I mean, it's just been, it's every single day, no matter what time, no matter what the situation, no matter win, lose, or draw, when I get on that campus, I feel like I'm in heaven. And I feel that where can you go? Every day I go there. Think about this. I get a chance to learn something. I get a chance to maybe teach somebody something. And I get a chance maybe to help somebody every single day. And I go in that building, and, you know, like even last spring, I took a master's in sports psychology. I sat in on that class. And I learned a lot, but today I learned something. I was there today and I learned something. And Monday I learned something. And the education has never stopped. And it's, without question, it was the greatest decision I ever made in my life. And that's my family. To tell you the truth, the University of Miami is my family.
Well, that's obvious to everybody, Don. We all. You know, you could have called games for Bo Jackson, but other than that, why the hell would you?
I'll tell you this: it was a hell of a recruiting trip. Now, it was a good deal. But listen, and you know what's crazy? They had me at Auburn when Miami was playing them, and Miami beat Auburn when I was on that trip. So that helped a little bit too.
Wow. So your head coach at the time when you got there was who?
Howard Schnellenberger. I was Coach Schnellenberger. I think if you check this, I'm probably right. I was the only Dade County high school athlete to sign with the University of Miami that year.
Yeah, that year.
That was 79 or what year was that?
I was a freshman in 1979, correct.
Right. I was 9. Thank you very much.
All right. I remember seeing you I remember hearing about you in Gainesville back then. You were notorious when you were 9 years old.
That sounds good, but no. I was terrible. I was terrible back then. So you come in, Howard Schnellenberger, he's smoking the pipe. I mean, what was he like as a coach? I mean, I had Jimmy. I've been around. I had been around Coach Schnellenberger, but not being coach. And I know you're very passionate about it because I've heard you speak about it. What was he like as a coach, as a man?
As a man, I mean, oh man, you can ask anybody and everybody. We felt that there was nobody smarter in the business. Mm-hmm. He had a pretty distinct plan. He came in. He was going to make sure that we were the hardest working team in the history of college football. And in doing so, people left, you know. I mean, a lot of people said this isn't going to be for me. And the core of those people that stayed, he knew he could win with. And we did. And you never felt unprepared. You never felt that you were going to lose a football game ever. And we lost to Florida A&M. And a month later, we went and beat Penn State. His first year, he let you play. He let you play wide open. And I mean, he talked to you about penalties, and he talked to you about being a professional, but he let you go. But everything was at the most intense level. And the beauty of it was, if you were the best player on the team, if you were Jim Kelly or you were the guy that wasn't, he treated you the same as long as you did what you were supposed to do and worked at the level you were at. And a week does not go by, or an instance does not go by, that I don't feel the impact I had from Howard Schnellenberger. And I got to tell you, my offensive line coach was Kim Helton, who was, I had him for 4 years. And ironically, he was at Florida when I was being recruited to Florida. He came to Miami, and he was the same kind of guy. And the influences that I had from those men on that campus and that university, to this day, I still feel it. I still, it's ingrained in me. And they just did a phenomenal job. But we never went into a football game ever thinking that we would lose, because Coach Schnellenberger had us prepared that well.
And you also had a pro-style offense. You had wide receivers who can go deep. You had running backs that can catch screens or flares. You had tight ends constantly involved with Willie Smith. And you had guys involved. They couldn't figure out how to stop that kind of an offense. You were a part of it.
They really couldn't. And Bruce, you're right. Howard, Coach Schnellenberger, I keep saying Howard, Coach Schnellenberger brought in the pro-style offense. And, living proof is they were running that option game at Nebraska in '83. Yeah. And Miami put it on them with the tight end and the running game and the two-back offense, and he was cutting edge. But you've got to remember, in the 60s, he was winning he won 3 national championships with Bear Bryant. I mean, he was offensive coordinator for the undefeated Miami Dolphins. I mean,
he played under Shula. Right.
You look at this man's resume. He was he might have been like the first special teams coach in the NFL. And you look at his resume, there's no resume in the history of the game that is more impressive than Howard Schnellenberger's. And he had the staff, and I'll tell you what it boiled down to at the end is we believed. We believed in him, and we believed in the process, and we built upon it, and it was it just, we never walked into a situation where we didn't think we could win. I'm telling you.
Who gets the job and announces they're going to win the national title within 5 years? He did it. And that has to build up some confidence. He was confident.
Especially Don, after the first year, you guys, I'm looking at this list. You guys were 5 and 6, and you lost Florida State, you lost Florida A&M, San Diego State, Syracuse, #1 Alabama, and Notre Dame. But you beat Florida at the end of the year. Was that the game that maybe turned it around for you guys?
You look at now.
That and the Penn State game.
It was no.
Not even the Penn State game?
Okay, the game that turned it.
Right.
The game that turned it around was our loss to Florida A&M University. And you say, well, how the hell that turned it around? We never want to go through that again. I mean, we thought we were going to have to walk home. I mean, we thought we were going to, but I'm telling you, that was the most important game of that season, because that team was segmented at that time. We weren't playing as a unit. That game, it all came undone. It came done in that locker room. I mean, stuff was going on in that locker room that I don't even want to share, as far as, the division and how guys didn't trust each other. And for that game, we came back. And if you got the calendar in front of you, I think it's less than a month later, that team that went to Florida A&M goes to Penn State at Penn State. We started that day, was Jim Kelly's first start. And we also started 13 freshmen and sophomore, including yours truly, in that football game. And we beat them on the road. And the last 4 games of the year were Penn State, at Alabama, Notre Dame in Japan, and back home to Florida. And after that Florida A&M game, we knew we either had to buy in or get the hell out. And guys bought in, and the rest is really history because he was going to win a national championship. Period. There was.
Hey, Don, how many 3-a-day practices, y'all? How many 3-a-day practices?
So you showed up. You showed up, and he was a 12-minute run guy. You know, that was a mile.
He did that,
and he didn't care. He didn't care if you were a lineman or a back. Your butt had to make the 12-minute run. And the first year, not everybody made it. So what he decided to do was to make sure that we were going to be the best conditioned team in America. So, and there's no time limits, guys. Every practice was a bare minimum 3-hour deal. And this is not walking to school with snow in Florida. This is documented stuff. He made sure that we were so well conditioned that before those 2-a-days that went for a couple weeks, every morning, the entire team had to go run 3.5 miles for time before breakfast, before practice, before meetings. That's how you started your day. 3.5 miles. And in the dark, of course, in the middle of the summer and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, again, it was to see who was going to stay or who was going to leave. And,
there was a time limit on it and how long you had to do it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 12
So
minutes.
you weren't going to walk this deal. It wasn't a morning stroll, you know? It was, but, you know, everybody kind of was like, oh, boy, wow. But the guys that stuck it out, look what happened. 5 years to the championship.
Well, even the next year, you know, you go 9-3.
First
bowl,
bowl,
Peach Bowl.
15 in the history of the program. Miami hadn't been to a bowl in 14 or 15 years. He took us to the Peach Bowl.
Yeah.
So Don, here you are, 44 years later. And I've been there every step of the way with you. It means we're both getting old. We were actually in school together at Miami, and now here we are on the Lamar Thomas show on a Wednesday night together.
Lamar, he was sit by me in class and copy. Can you believe that guy? He would get my answers.
So here we are, 44 years later, and man, you have lived and died through every single second of Miami Hurricanes football since. I've seen you on game day. We travel to the road games. I've seen you in the booth. I've seen you in the press box. You are living and dying every minute of this thing every single day for the last 44 years. What has that been like for you? And how much sleep have you gotten this week?
You know, from let's say July till the end of the year, I'm a 4:30 a.m. until I'm done guy, you know, every day. So it's that part of it just comes with it because I do have another business, right? And it's been every day is make a wish, Gary, for me. I mean, I just, you know, people think I get offended when they say, "Oh, you're such a homer." I am. Thank you. This is my home.
See, I told you you'd admit it.
I love my University of Miami. Let me see. I met the most important person in my life there, my wife, when, you know, I was whatever. And I mean, I met her in the training room. She was an athletic trainer. She was in school to be a trainer. And all my friends and everything in my life is around that university. And it's never let me down. I'm not saying that I agree with what goes on because I don't, but I trust it. And I am not going to ever retire. You know, I hope my last breath is when we kick the winning field goal against Florida in 30 years. You know what I mean? I think it's just an opportunity that I've had, and I do not take it for granted. I relish it, and I never tell them no. They say, Don, we'll go to the moon and do what we got to do. You know, I have not been able to repay the debt that I have to that university. And it's one day I hope to write them a big check and pay back a lot of it. But I really haven't been able to repay them back because it's been the most important thing other than my family in my whole life.
And even if something like what happened the other day happens, you know what? You wouldn't give this up for anything. You would not, because you love this. This is your life.
Here's the thing about what happened Saturday.
Well, you don't have to talk about it.
No.
I'm just saying you still wouldn't give this up for anything.
I mean, that what happened is not ever going to be the worst thing that happens to me, or the worst thing that happens to this program, or worst thing that happens to any of these players. To me, I've learned that these are opportunities to teach these young men, and for the older men, and for the program to learn. And it's not going to kill us, but we will get better from it.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate, but something like this is going to happen again, and something like this may happen that some people may consider it worse. I think it's an opportunity for teaching, and I think it's an opportunity for us to understand that stuff happens like this, and you don't want it to happen again. And if it does, it does. But this is not the worst thing that's going to happen to anyone.
I'm not saying, and I didn't say it was, Don, but this team is clearly better than they were last year. It's not even remotely close. We're light years ahead. This is nothing. This is a blip on the radar. I still think we're going to beat North Carolina.
I think it's going to make. You've been saying that, and I listened to you. I'm with you. I mean, this event did not splinter this football team.
Right.
If anything, it will bring it closer together. And well, why do you say that, John? I've seen how the kids are. I was there Monday, the day after, 2 days after, and I saw them today, and I interact with them, and this is not going to splinter them, and this is going to make them better. And look, we lost to Georgia Tech. I lost to Florida A&M. I mean, in Penn State, and 4 years later, you win a national championship. It's a game. It's a part of the plan, and we'll get through it.
Let's just.
Hey, Don, I got a question for you. You talk about winning that national championship. Okay, what was that feeling of? I like to tell people when I closed my eyes that night, which it was late, it was real late, and I finally opened them up again. Did you have that feeling of like, holy crap, we're the best team in the country?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the crazy part is I thought it was the greatest thing that could ever happen. But again, the prophet Howard Schnellenberger promised everybody that it would happen. He made the promise. And the only variable he had was time, and he kept his word. He kept his word. I mean, you really think about that. He made that promise, and he ingrained that into everybody that was at the university. I'm sorry, everybody that was in football, and he ingrained it, and it came true.
Wow. I remember just waking up that next day, first one, second one, whatever. It was waking up that morning going, damn, I'm on the best team in college football. Like, it's just an amazing feeling. Like you said, you think that would be the best feeling in the world, but obviously, you're young at the time, and there are other things that happen later on in life that are better feeling. But at that time, I just could not believe a small town kid from Ocala, Gainesville, comes to the University of Miami and wins a national championship, and you being from Miami to get that done in Miami.
Well, the thing I think that people miss about this whole thing of college football, and think about this, is the greatest part of all of it, and I don't think anybody who's played it would disagree, is the locker room and what happened. You can take a Gino Torretta from California, and a Lamar Thomas from Gainesville, and this guy from Opelika, and another guy from Georgia, and 2 guys from New Jersey, and 14 guys from Fort Lauderdale, and 12 guys, and all of a sudden, at the end of your time together, you're brothers for the rest of your life. I mean, you're tied together for the rest of your life. And I think that that's probably one of the greatest things about this game. And Miami, the University of Miami has done a phenomenal job through its history of making sure that each generation knows each other and respects each other, and that they do a nice job of making sure the family stays together, no matter what era you're from. I mean, I love going to the reunions and seeing, the Gary Dunns, and I love going to reunions and seeing Reuben Carter and Don Latimer, Edwards, and all these guys that you heard about, and Ted Hendricks, and having these guys there. And then you get the Genos and the Lamars, and you get, Eric Winston, who's going into the Hall of Fame, and you got all these levels, and everybody had a life-changing experience while they were there, and I think that's a special part of it.
No, we had what's his name, Ray Bellamy on last week.
Yeah, Ray Bellamy on last week.
Talking about a true Cane. I mean, Ray still talking. He loved it.
Yeah, his story. Wow.
Hey, so Don, Pinellas Cane, one of our viewers, has a question for you.
Go ahead.
I don't know why I just knocked it off the screen, but he says, why does that particular officiating crew that did the game Saturday night have an axe to grind against Miami?
I don't think Donnie can answer this question.
Because it's Miami.
Miami.
I'm sure you went back and watched the videotape. Listen, what happened. But what do you think of the replay process on that fumble? It's water over the dam, but what were your thoughts?
My thoughts are it wasn't a fumble. My thoughts are he shouldn't have fumbled. And my thoughts are, the play probably shouldn't have existed. So that's, there's, as much as we like to say that Coach Cristobal made this mistake by running the football, we fumbled the football.
Right.
All the fumble. And running backs aren't supposed to fumble, especially in that situation. So I went through that game as hard as I've gone through any game in my history. And there's so many things that could have and should have, and that I want to believe that this game is going to be a building block.
Correct.
Game is going to.
That's what I said.
And that you're going to learn from it. And this is a young team. There's a lot of young players. This is not a senior laden team, guys. And these young men have to learn. And their coach lives by the rules that he preaches. He says, we're going to be transparent. And he was transparent to his team in front of every one of them and told them that the call was not the right one for him to make. And I think that took that in front of the whole group. And that is a prideful man that did what was right and what was best for the team. And then you ask a guy like me, where I watch it and I study the game, there was they scored in 26 seconds. They went 74 yards. I mean, that's a tough thing to swallow as well.
Oh.
Right. Donnie, I said they could have called the timeout before that last play took off to make sure that everybody was back.
I got all those things. You
got that, right?
Right? But at the end of the day, I go back to spreading responsibility. Yes, Mario did not make a call that he's happy with and he wish he had back. Don Chaney fumbled the damn football. We gave up a touchdown drive with less than 30 seconds. We had 3 interceptions at the quarterback position, and mind you, not all of them were his fault.
Right.
Okay. And we also had a touchdown called back because, to me, and as Cooper, he wasn't holding.
That wasn't a hold.
I made a career out.
Bullshit.
So he was not holding, but it brought 7 points back. Plays later, we throw the pick that led to points. So, that to me, again, I'm taking it the way I take a lot of stuff. It's a lesson, and it did not kill anyone, and we will get better from it. And it was a sobering moment for this football team. And Bruce, you said it. You think Miami's going to go up there and win. I'm not betting against Mike Haynes, and I'm not betting against him at all. And
this is going to be Texas A&M Part 2, but we're going to have more of a chip on our shoulder than we did 7 weeks ago or whenever that was.
Yeah.
We got to beat these guys. This is a big game because we still control our own destiny. I hope you realize that. With Clemson and Louisville and Florida State, I'm not saying we're going to win them all, but we do control our own destiny still.
Well, you do. And I think that's the beauty of college football. But again, let's reel it in. This is Mario Cristobal has been here a year and a half, and I'll tell you how people believe in him. There's, obviously people are upset we lost the game. He signed a top 100 recruit, got to come in with top 100 recruit on Sunday.
Yeah.
So the shine is not wearing off the University of Miami, and the opportunity to come here and be successful is not going to disappear from the University of Miami. And you've got a head coach that I know how hard it is to run a family business, and I know how hard it is that because you feel every single thing that goes on in a family business. If something's not right, take it personal. That's a tough deal. Well, Mario Cristobal is running the family business, and there's there's a whole lot of family, meaning former players, that are out there that have their eye on this program, and there's a fan base here that's anxious and missing winning seasons like we used to have.
Like they're so desperate to win. We're all so desperate. Yeah.
He's the right man. No ifs, ands, or buts. And if you think it hurt you as a fan or a spectator or a player, it didn't hurt you near as bad as it has hurt him.
Oh, sure. But we can right that ship, and it starts in 72 hours. I can't wait to see the game.
Is it? I bet it's that simple.
72 hours? That's what it is?
72 hours.
So Don, when TVD kneels that ball on Saturday, I'm going to ask the question in the press conference. Hey Mario, how did it feel to kneel the ball? What do you think?
He'll laugh.
But I'm going to get to TVD and tell him he better walk that football over and give it to us.
Yeah, it is true. Don, here you go. I got a question for you. As a young person that wants to get into broadcasting, can you tell me how you were able to get into broadcasting, to get this dream gig of yours? How did it happen?
So when I got out of college, I played 3 years in the NFL, and then there was so that would have put me, I don't know, that would have put me at about 25. So after about a couple years, I started to get the itch that I wanted to be around the sport again. And I love living in Miami. I mean, I want to be here. And obviously, if you're going to go into the coaching business, you have to live everywhere. So I figured out, well, if I want to be around Miami, meaning the city of Miami, I love my University of Miami, I want to be around football, what's the best way to do it? And I said, well, I'm going to go get in the radio business. I'm going to go become a radio guy. And I had no idea how to do it when I started. But back, I'm not going to say the station's names because I'm sure I'm going to be wrong, but the Canes were broadcast on one station at that time. So I went to the other two stations and I said, hey, I want to start a radio show called Canes World. And I had some help along the way. And they said, well, what is it? I says, oh, we're going to do like a coach's show during the week and we're going to get players and this and that. And they said, well, here's the deal. We're going to give you, I guess it was 2 hours. We'll give you 2 hours and it's going to cost you for an engineer. You get half the ads, we get half the ads, and you can do it from a remote location. So I went out and I sold the ads on my side. And I went and I went across the street from the University of Miami. At that time was a Holiday Inn, and we talked to them about having a show there. And so that was the beginning of it. And then the rights changed, and I got the chance to take. I don't know if it was a year later or 2 years later. The rights changed, So I went and to the other station, and I did pregame, mid-game, and post-game. Every single game. I did the whole thing. And I did that for a couple years, and then the rights changed, I think, again, or somebody left, and I got to get on the field, and then I got as a sideline reporter, and then I got to go upstairs and work with Sonny Hirsch, and then I think Dave Lamont went over, and I became the color guy, and then it changed again, and I wouldn't give up, and I loved it, and I guess I was doing a good enough job, and I just stayed with it and stayed with it and stayed with it, and now it's a full-time job and a full-time career. I think it's very challenging business. If it's not highly lucrative. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you probably do something else and enjoy what I do.
Still need you to buy floors, Lamar.
I'm sorry.
He still needs you to buy floors.
It's turned out for me again. I'm grateful for it. I work at it, and I'm trusted in it, by my university and the people around me. And I think that's the biggest thing is if you're going to go in it, there's two ways to go in it. You go in it and you try and break all the stories and break all the news and do all of that, I guess. Or you go in it and you're a member of the family and you just take care of your business.
Hey, let me ask you this: was your first ad that you sold, was it to your family business?
Oh, actually, it wasn't, because I didn't want to cross that channel, but that's a good idea.
He used to put in the old CaneSport magazine.
Yes.
That is correct. You know what? I used to live and die by that magazine. I love that magazine.
Me too. All the guys loved it. What the hell are you going to read in the toilet if you didn't have that?
Times changed, man. We had to go digital.
Look, I still get the Herald and the Sun Sentinel to my house, so I'm a newspaper
guy.
Yeah, I like the newspaper too. I do.
Yeah.
You know who I got my first radio gig from? Joe Zagacki. Joe.
Well,
Joe put me on.
Let's talk about
as a draft expert, and then I got my own show out of that because of him.
Let's talk about that for a minute. So you talk about being fortunate and how stars line up in the business. I've been able to work with him for really like 25 years. We've been 22, I think, at this. I don't know. He knows everything. I don't pay attention to it. And he is the most underrated broadcaster, I think, in the country. And I see these other guys and I listen to these other guys, and he's my Joe Zagacki and he's my partner, but he's a pro. He's prepared. He understands the ins and the outs of the game. He gives us a great story to tell every single game. And he's very understanding of me, because I'm sure that I break a lot of broadcasting rules during a game. I'm sure I'm a pain in the butt from time to time, especially like we have a little rule. I said, Joe, I'm going to try and do my best to be a good boy and behave myself unless it's Florida State or Florida or Notre Dame. If it's one of those three, it's out. Forget it. I got to do what I got to do this week.
You'll be punching the walls in the box. Hey, Don, before we let you go, you have become known for your clever sayings during the course of games. And you pull these out, and I know you put a lot of time into them and all that. Give us your top 5 clever sayings of Don Bailey Jr. that you feel just stood out above the rest of the pack through all these years of broadcasting.
All right, so you're not going to believe this. I don't remember any of them, man.
I believe it.
So here's how this works, okay? And I have to give Mark Hochman and Crowder, those guys, the credit, because I forget the gentleman's name who used to work for the Panthers, who used to do it, and I heard he was going to TV. So I called Hawk. I said, and I'd never met him. I said, Hawk, I said, listen to me. I said, I want that deal, man. I said, I can do that. And it was right. It's right up my alley. And every week he sends them to me. And, it's gotten, I went into Miami Airport a couple of weeks ago. I was going to New York on our off week for a wedding, and somebody says, "Hey man, what's the line of the week?" I'm getting out of the car. I don't even know. I'll tell you what, it's scary. This is the God's truth. Now, I was in not this Monday. Last Monday, I go to LA Fitness. I'm there at 5 a.m. by UM so I can beat the traffic. I go to LA Fitness. I'm walking out of the locker room, and I hear somebody go, 8675309. I says, I just did that line. He goes, "Hey man, we liked your line." And it's so people get it, but I got to give credit to Hockman and Crowder. Those guys are the ones that dream them all up, and I gotta really thank Joe Zagacki for allowing it to happen, because he's a and that doesn't fit into normal radio protocol. You know what I mean?
You don't even have one favorite?
He said he didn't remember. Look at that.
He's got to remember the best of all time.
I don't. You know what? I'm going through the list he sent it right now. I mean, I don't. They're all good, man. I like them all. There's not. There was. What did we do? We did some Doris Day song for my dad's birthday. Like my dad's gonna be 90. The Saturday of the Clemson game. So the Saturday of the Clemson game, they'll put together some 50s music or 40s music, and I'll make some plays off of that. I get a kick out of that when I can do that for him, and it'll be his 90th birthday Saturday of the Clemson game. So I think the crazier the better is really what it boils down to, and they enjoy making me look like a fool.
Well, Don, we definitely appreciate you coming on, man. You've been around the program a long time, and keep up the great work, you and Joe. And let's look forward to taking that knee on Saturday. How about that? You make a good call on that.
Have Tyler bring that ball to Coach Mario Cristobal and give him the game ball with the victory. I like that's a storybook ending. And guys, thank you for everything too, Bruce. I enjoy what you do. Lamar, I've always been a fan, and Gary, we go back to when, like I said, you were cheating off me in class in college. I appreciate and I respect everything you do, and never forget, don't say nothing bad about that University of Miami to Don Bailey. Don't forget.
Thank you, Don. Have a good night, man. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Don. Thanks for coming on. I can't believe he doesn't have a top five. I mean, he comes up with the most ridiculous sayings. Like they'll score a touchdown and he'll literally start singing 8675309. It's really like a nice little.
He's so the opposite of Joe that's why it kind of works. He's not.
Yeah,
he's
the fact that you were cheating off the man. Come on, man. You were cheating off the man in class, man.
You were cheating off Don? No.
Oh yeah.
Really?
I had a Hall of Fame in class, man. You have no idea. It was something else being at the U back in the early '80s and late '70s. It was pretty cool. All right, we got another great guest coming up here in a minute. He calls himself Nate the Great.
Nate the Great.
We'll leave it at that. But first, Lamar, we got to do some business. So, I'll start out by talking about CaneSport here, and let's let everybody. Let's see.
Let's take CaneSport shirt.
There you go. This is a CaneSport shirt right here too.
Yeah, and I got the banner back there too.
Let's start out by taking a look at the new CaneSport.
Welcome to CaneSport.
New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, CaneSport has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. CaneSport, the spot Miami fans shop.
Yeah, you guys got a glimpse of their store there in that commercial. You could see a little, part of it behind me here on the screen tonight. Lamar's there every week except tonight. But what an amazing store they've put together. They moved down the shopping plaza, and it is the largest cane store ever created. And so much merchandise, T-shirts, jerseys, polos, hoodies, hats, flags, magnets, hats like what Lamar is wearing right now, probably the shirt as well. And they have sizes for men, women, babies. They will even outfit your pet and your kids too. If kids, pets, whatever, they will dress them for you at CaneSport. And as you saw in the commercial, they also have gear for the Dolphins, Panthers, Inter Miami. All those seasons are cranking up right now. So this is the time for you to go to CaneSport, where it's more than just a store. It is an absolute experience. And you can visit them in person at 2655 South University Drive in Davie. Right next to a sub shop there that I'll mention their name since they feed Lamar every week, La Spada's. If you are not able to go to the store, you can go to CaneSport.com, where obviously they are always open. And you can get tailgate gear for next week's Clemson game. If you want whatever you need, you can get at CaneSport. So CaneSport, 2655 South University Drive in Davie, and CaneSport.com. Make sure you check them out.
Gary, that your picture behind you and all the things in the commercial, but I guess the best part of it is Brett and all those people that work there. They are the nicest people. And you talk to those guys and they'll get it for you if they don't have it or whatever. That's a big part of their success. Those guys that work there, they're wonderful people.
All right, and then we got the Florida Beach Bowl, the new bowl game coming to Drive Pink LT. We can't say who created it yet. But tell us a little bit about the Florida Beach Bowl.
South Florida, are you ready for a highly anticipated Florida Beach Bowl scheduled for December 13th, 2023 at 7:30 at Drive Pink Stadium in the city of Fort Lauderdale? This inaugural event features a showcase of historically Black colleges and universities from the SIAC to the SIAC to the CIAA football programs, battling it out on the sun-drenched shores of South Florida. This bowl game is all about uniting and showcasing Broward County as a whole. In addition to the main event, the Florida Beach Bowl is hosting a golf tournament, a 5K run, a community concert, and various sporting events, special events, all designed to engage and uplift our community. For more information, visit www.floridabeachbowl.com. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. And then, guys, if you get yourself in trouble out there, and there's a lot of it in South Florida, you got the law firm of Rapson and Faxadomo. And LT, nobody ever wants to need a lawyer.
No. It's one of those stressful and disconcerting events that can occur in a person's life. You're suddenly facing criminal prosecution. So many fears and questions arise. Well, this law firm right here will get it done for you. There are two great lawyers down here in South Florida. They were recently named the 2014 Super Lawyers for their skills and experience and passion and dedication in aggressively pursuing the best possible outcome for all their clients. And Mickey, I've known her many years. I actually saw her at the Dolphin game, her and her husband Stuart. They do an outstanding job. She does an outstanding job. She handles a lot of college students. So parents, if you have a college student down here in the South Florida area and you're away and you need some help, call up this law firm right here, Ratson and Faxadomo. They'll get the job done for you.
I'm looking at that picture. I have a hard time just visualizing Mickey being aggressive and tough.
She was a gymnast. She was a Florida gymnast.
Yeah.
She's awesome, man. She don't play in the courtroom. I tell you that.
Don't let the looks fool you.
Yeah, she goes hard, man.
All right. Well, our next guest calls himself Nate the Great. I mean, that's almost like Lamar the Magnificent or whatever you used to call yourself, LT. Let's bring him in here. And
Nate the Great.
What's up, baby?
How you doing tonight, man?
Hey, I'm hanging in there, man.
You know, old Nate the Great, I called him up today. The first thing I had to ask him, were you in South Florida or are you on the road? He drives trucks, and he keeps everybody involved in social media, man. He lets you know. Hell, I didn't even know mountain lions attack you on the side of the road and all that. But just from following you, I found that out.
Yeah. That's real, man.
You know what he told me? He said, I was just trying to educate everybody. So thank you. If I am out in Utah or something like that and I get a flat tire, I'm gonna stay in my car. How about that?
Yeah, that's pretty smart, right?
Hey, Nate, again, to come on this show, we want to know, and we want the viewers to know, just as always, why the University of Miami? You being a South Florida kid, why the University of Miami?
Well, to be honest with you, me personally, I'm always a Deion Sanders fan, and I was heading to Florida State to my mom. It's a picture of my mom. She passed away, and I had to stay home to take care of my girl, man. And then my whole life shifted when that happened. It ain't nothing hit me harder than that when my father passed. Up until Marlon Barnes got murdered. That's my cousin, and it was like I was inside of a hurricane, man. You know what I'm saying? I grew up gang banging. I was the leader of my gang from Scott Projects. One of the worst. I like to say the worst areas in the United States. Because I always say in my book, Black with No Excuses, that our community robbed the train before it get to Biscayne. A lot of robbery happened here. A lot of gang banging happened. So I always looked at Marlon was my protector. So when that happened, man, it just spun my world, and it just happened to be like I was in the middle of a hurricane, coming there, and we were on probation, and then I'm getting penalized for something I ain't have nothing to do. Coach Erickson came just to my mom's house and told him that he was gonna be my father for the next 4 years, and he up and left, and I was like, oh man, now he gone, and then as I grew, I understood about the going to the NFL to coach and stuff like that. But for a long time, I had a bitter taste in my mouth for Coach Erickson, man, because I was fatherless, and it was like now it's like every real male role model in my life they go away, ready to get murdered. When my dad had a heart attack, Coach Erickson got some excuse about leaving me. So, man, I just was bitter and angry. And I think that's when Coach Davis got me calling me the special team king, because special team was where I didn't have to think. I was just fast. I wasn't afraid of nothing. I was, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, can we curse on this thing or not, man? You know what I'm saying?
What you saying, dog?
Want to keep it real, So I just make it, just the mentality. I just, special team was where I was able to just get a lot of aggression out. You know what I'm saying? And I was sort of upset also with Coach Pagano at the time, because coming through North Miami, we was called the Swamp Dogs. Me, Marlon, Earl Little, Jeff, all of us was, we had the #1 defense in the nation with John Brownie, and it was like you stick your man. We man to man, bump and run cornerbacks. I'm like, why are you making me back off of people? Like you're afraid of them or something? So I don't bump. I don't back up. I'm in the top shape of my life. I'm quicker than whoever. Like I'm pressing everybody every down. Like I'm gonna take care of this man. So him backing me up, we argued every day, man. It was just a disaster when Coach Erickson left. And then it was a new defense. I'm not trying to learn nothing. I was told that I was going to be able to bump and run every down. This is what I'm about. You know what I mean? And that's why I don't look at the Canes now, because it's like that's not my mentality. It's like the projects that I grew up in, it's gone. The community is different. I'm a different individual, but I represent this book. It's my book, Black with No Excuses. It's in Barnes and Nobles worldwide. You know what I'm saying? I went on and got a master's degree. I got a nonprofit 501c3. One of my biggest awards at the University of Miami was with the coaches award right here for the Good Works team. And it reads, so let me read it to you. Say, 1998 Good Works team presents Nate Brooks from University of Miami for extraordinary contribution to the community for assuming leadership role and creating a better society. See, my dad marched with the real Martin Luther King. My mom had a 3rd grade education, so that meant a lot to me. And that's why I was so for like reading every book I see, because she was prohibited from reading. So I talk about it in my book about Black with No Excuses. And I was always going to all the schools Coach Davis sent me to. I would go to all schools, and I took pride in that. The special team king, special to me, because now slavery is over. From how my dad explained, slavery is over. So now we can do everything we want. You know what I'm saying? So, that's what I took a lot of pride in. So now I got 7 companies. I sell the Black Jimmy Hoffa. I ride around on different mountains, all in the different cities and different states, man. You know what I'm saying? But the hurricane, that whole setting, man, that mentality is not there now. It's just like the projects was knocked down. You know what I'm saying? And I seen the game where the guy was down. The guy was down. We should have kneeled the ball. Yeah, fuck all that, man. You don't go for no damn no up, no out and up. The game over, you stay over the top of the D. I'm talking about the DBs, man. You don't get bombed like that. And no guy. We used to. I would have prayed for that shit. I would be raising my hand like Dion, like throw the ball. That's an interception time right there. They throwing the ball. I don't care nothing about no kneeling, no damn ball, no fun. Remember, hey, I got that. I got the biggest, one of the biggest shocking touchdowns. I know Ed Reed argue that he did a little thing in Boston College. I know Blackie Milder has something to say about that. But me and Tremaine Mack and Giacomo, we put together something. You gotta remember, man, that's what this is about. The hurricane. I mean, Coach Shannon got hit in the head with a garbage can that night. You know what I'm saying? There was a riot out there before the game, bro. We was in the middle. We talking about the KKKs, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, this was real life. You know what I'm saying?
West Virginia? Was that West Virginia?
Yeah.
Morgantown,
West Virginia. Yeah.
And
I told Coach Davis this. I just told Coach Davis this last week, because we're in the movie. We was on the movie set, and they were doing the movie about my cousin Marlon getting murdered, right? And that's going to be out in January. And me and Coach Davis in this movie. So I told him, I said, hey, Coach, I'm trucking now. And every time I ride through those West Virginia mountains, it's like spirits be grabbing after my truck. I'll be like, those people are still upset with me, man. I go through those things. Those mountains are the most scariest mountains for me out of all of them. You know what I'm saying? I say, and it's because Morgantown, I'm telling you, man, they hunting me, man. They still hunting me to this day, man.
They hunting. So you saying they hunting you for the block punt with no time remaining on the clock?
Right. Because they went crazy, because that was their season. We just spoiled them people's season. You know what I'm saying? You got to realize that the best of the Canes, we was on probation. We were strapped down, like we was reloading, bro. But we still pulled that off. And they was low. Oh, they thought they was going, man. I think they were like 11-3 that year, 11-2, something like that. But they got stung. You know what I'm saying? They got stung. And then I talk about this with my program, manners and behavior. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it comes down to. Let's talk about their manners and their behavior. After that touchdown, Defer got injured. They blocked the ambulance with their cars. They blocked the ambulance. They start turning lights off. They burning garbage cans, throwing garbage cans. They barricaded us in there. It was a different level of fear. I was like, man, this is scary. I was like, all right, we'll take the touchdown back. We'll take the touchdown. Y'all want the game that bad. Y'all want the game that bad, boy. That was scary for real, man, for real.
So tell me this. What was, I didn't go through the probation days, okay?
Right.
What was that like? I mean, because you knew you couldn't do certain things. What was the, with Coach Davis, how was that program run at that time?
It was very like you still thinking you bad, but you don't have that depth. So you like halfway bad, because we know like, oh shit, third quarter we're done. Like you don't have no backup players. Not to disrespect the walk-ons, even though Santana Moss, that was the only thing that landed for us. Other than him, that the rest of that was the people who go to school to go to school. Because Erickson already put it to us, we're not here to go to class. School is forever. School is forever. And I loved him for that, because I'm proving it. I went and got a master's degree, man. I got companies. You learn it yourself. Nobody can't tell you anything. There you go. But right now, we're here to play football, man. That's what we're here for. You see what I'm saying? So now, when you got to get a real student to try to play football, man, we was like, we knew we had cap guns. We know we had water guns. We couldn't shoot nothing with that. You know what I mean? And now it's like, if they're not creating turnovers, they're creating turnovers. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, yo, you're not gonna make nobody fumble, but you're gonna fumble. Oh my God, you know what I'm saying? And then it is just like then they're not learning the stuff because it's like you gotta have patience with them because this is all we got, man. The program has basically bellied up, and now this was the biggest challenge for me because, like I say, I'm from the hood, man. I'm from here. And Lamar, it's crazy this show, but I always say, bro, I'm going to give it my all, but I'm going to entertain these people more than Lamar Thomas. And that's way up there.
Wow.
But I tried my best. I tried to just do everything because when we came, our whole hood used to come to the park and everybody just wanted to see LT, man. Like we was brainwashed. You see what I'm saying? The whole Little Bit City Scott projects. You know, a lot of people would throw Michael Irvin name up there, and I played with Reggie Wayne and stuff like that. You know, but LT was just the Ric Flair of that shit, man. It still remains, and it's like even with Dion, I love Dion, but Dion is now he hired Sapp. He got Michael Irvin up there. And then the Rockets up there, and Dwayne know he was in my class with theater, so he know who the actor is. But the thing is, the thing is this: what Dion is really doing is he's just cherry picking that Lamar Thomas swag shit he wanted up there in Colorado. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all it is. It's like that. You know, hey, Dion that one dude. But why don't you surround Colorado with the Florida State guys then? Since you so prime time, take that shit up, take Florida State up there. Because Nate the Great gonna look at it the same way we look at, rap music. Like, oh, Tupac is not here no more. Well, I'm not gonna listen to what they're playing. You're not gonna force me to listen. I'm listening to Bob Marley. I'm still listening to Tupac. I'm not gonna listen to trash. And I'm not gonna look at University of Miami if the second man is not. If the first man is not holding them up, the second man is not punching them in the nuts and going after the ball, and they ain't fucking trying to bend his goddamn finger, like fuck them. I'm not looking at the shit. They too nice.
Hey,
you see what I'm saying?
Hey, Nate, speaking of rap, I'm reading your bio. You released 6 rap albums in your career.
Yeah. And really and truly it's 7 because the one that just got released, we did the highlight. They did the Where Are We Now? And we did the highlight. I just want to go on the record and let everybody know when you look at the documentary, the cameras followed me every day for 4 years when I was at the University of Miami. It came in 3rd place out of 500 films in the California Film Festival. You know, and it's like everybody a millionaire but me. My money still got to catch up. You know what I'm saying?
Where can we find that? Where can we find that documentary? Is it on YouTube?
The document you can go right on YouTube. Go to Megaball 56. That's my channel on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Megaball 56. It'll be on there, and you'll see the different clips. But what's special about that is, as soon as it come on, one time for Matt Stein, he's the executive producer of Halloween now. He making big busts like The Rock, you know. And then one time for Scott Album. Scott, those guys were students at the University of Miami. Now, when it first come on, he say. He was, he's a Jewish kid, and he was doing a documentary on PBS on manatees, and they would put the cameras on the manatees, and then when the manatees get hit by a boat or something, they'll find them over there, dead or almost dead or whatever. And he say, and then I saw on the front newspaper this rapper and this football player who had just defeated the NCAA, so to continue to make money while he's on scholarship. So I want to give a shout out to all the little athletes out there that should be basically making donations to my nonprofit for paving the way. Cause I've been beat the NCAA to make money. So that's nothing new. I was the first athlete to ever do that at the University of Miami the NCAA had to allow me, Pete Garcia and Craig Angelo, rest in peace, Paul D. All of them went to war for me, man, so I could continue to make my money selling my CDs. Uncle Luke was my music consultant, you know what I'm saying? And I had all kind of money, man. Ben had that, you know what I'm saying? But what I didn't have was basically the ability to stop the violence in my community. And when Marlon got murdered, man, it just really like, it still like fucked me up, bro. Like, you know, you don't understand, like, in life, you represent an energy and you only have so much time, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't even have went to class if it wasn't for Molly.
Hey, Nate,
like
I understand what you're going through. I get it. I got a call from Ryan Collins that morning, and he told me what happened. And we talked about it on the air. And just one of the saddest days. I remember it like it was yesterday. You know, so I understand what you're going through. It never leaves you. It never leaves you. I get it.
When is the movie coming out that you spoke of earlier?
Oh man, the crazy thing is both. It's going to be 2. They got it on Case Files. And they're both of them going to be in January.
Oh,
yeah.
Good.
Case Files is going to be. It's like they do the blood forensics of the how the blood went, and show like how they think would have happened. You know, it's just gut wrenching, man, because it's like so many of us would have died with him and died for him. Now you gotta live for him, and it's just slapping your face, man, for a community with so much violence and murdering, that somebody who wasn't even about that, he died like that, you know. So it's like
at the school, no less.
Well, we you know,
yeah,
as former players, we when it happened, once we had time to reflect, that could have been any of us.
Yeah,
could have been any of us. Because I mean, obviously things changed after that. They put better security on campus, gates up where you can't get in. Because you remember back in the day, you could come and go as you wanted to. There was no sign in.
Yeah.
So things changed because of Marlon. But that was truly a sad moment, obviously, for the whole Canes family. And you said the movie's coming out. It's coming out in January. So I'm definitely going to be trying to sit down and watch it.
Yeah.
I was with Marlon like a couple of days before. I went down there with Mark Caesar, and we were watching him practice.
Yeah.
And he came off the field with his number 56.
Chiseled,
man. And he took his helmet off, and a couple of days later, bang. Just horrible.
Right. Yeah,
Nate, you know, we just had another person pass away, Baraka Short, not too long ago.
Yeah.
I saw you there, and I started thinking about the fact that you guys played highlight together. You were on that documentary for the highlight. So you missed the documentary. That's who you are.
Yeah, you're right about that. That's my third documentary, man. That's my
How
third
did that
one.
highlight thing go, man?
I won it all. They were joking about my stomach because I got a gut now. I say on the ice cream truck, I got 4 ice cream trucks. If you got 4 ice cream trucks and you eating off of them all the time, hot dog, you got strawberry shortcake, everything at arm distance.
Hey, you know the big and small don't get high off your own supply? Come on, man.
Yeah, that's Ice
Cube.
Cube. Yeah, Ice Cube.
You have a belly on you? You? Oh my
God. It's like I tell her, I say I'm trucking now, so I'm digesting everything. You know what I mean? And it's crazy. It's crazy because Marley used to always say when we used to work out, and I work out right with him and Jay Burgess and Ray Lewis, and he'll say, that's what Coach wrote on the board for us to do that. And we did that. Now what you gonna do for yourself? I'm like, man, he like eat weights, you know, like he's a workaholic. And I'm like, I'm finna go in the studio, I'm finna go rap. I do other stuff. I don't just play football. I gotta go. You know what I mean? So, and he used to make me just stay and do some extra stuff. So now I look at it the same way. It's like, you know, when we was at University of Miami, and it was like paradise because you had the food there, you had all everything there, you know. But now, after school is over, it's like you want to be a trucker, you eat that pizza, you're going to digest it, and everything going to keep piling up. So now nobody not going to cherry pick your food for you now. You got to pick it yourself. And man, I'll be in Nebraska eating pig hogs and all kind of moose legs and stuff. And I'll be hogging out, man. I eat so much stuff. I eat the Mexican food, the Mexicans, everything, bro.
You eat the Mexicans?
I eat the Mexican food, man, and they look at me when I eat it too. They be looking at me like, can you ride me to Texas? I'm like, no, hell no, I can't ride nobody nowhere. I already know about that. You get 10 grand if you can ride them from Mexico to Texas, but you're gonna get 10 years for everybody in your truck. If you get caught up in that, you get 10 years for everybody in your truck. Yeah, but I eat everything now.
Let me ask you this. So, and I think I know your greatest. Tell me your greatest. You think your greatest play or accomplishment at the University of Miami?
Hands down, I got famous for the Morgantown play, but I earned my name Nate the Great from when, and it was crazy because we got in an argument and then it turned into that. All right, Florida State coming to town, we going in the Orange Bowl. All right now, and there was a lot of heat because you know what I'm saying. The dude Peter Ward was the guy who's going to return the kick and everything like that. And I know I'm the special team king on my team, so I went in the newspaper and I say, if he catch the ball, I'm gonna break his neck. And Buzz Davis just went crazy on me. He came in the locker room. Where's Dave Brooks? Where's Dave Brooks? You running your mouth in the newspaper? You giving them stuff to put on the bulletin board? Or what is wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking like you don't believe in me. I'm going, man, I don't care nothing about him. Fuck him, man. You shut your mouth. You don't know those people. Like, those people's going to come. They're going to get more hyper because of that. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know what I'm saying? I'm mad. I'm madder. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm thinking like, nobody don't return no kicks on me, man. You need two people to block me at the flyer gunner. So who you got to block me? Nobody can't stop me, man. Whatever. And I told him during the game, I say, bro, you better call a fair catch. I'm going to break your neck. Now you ain't going to the NFL. So we get out there, and then they punted it. We punted it to him, and he caught it. And the actual fake he did, it technically it worked because I went for the kill shot. So I missed, but he didn't know how quick I was bouncing right back up. And man, he did another move, and I nailed his ass. Fumble, and he fumbled, and we got the ball. 2 plays later, Scott Covington threw to Santana Moss. We scored a touchdown. Okay, so now, after the game over or whatever, because everybody upset we didn't win the game, but we ain't loaded with bullets anyway. We probation, whatever. But he runs in the locker room. Where's Dave Brooks? Where the fuck is Dave Brooks? Now I'm like, what the hell did I do now? What did I do now? He said, Dave Brooks, get your ass up here right now. I go ahead and come on up there where he was at, ready for him to say whatever. I ain't even did nothing. He say, everybody listen. This the kind of damn player we need on this team. He talking shit and he backs it up. Yeah. This what we and from that day
he was gonna say that to you. Yeah.
You knew that?
I had a feeling that you were gonna say that.
I didn't have no feeling. I was scared as hell. I can't keep pissing Butch Davis off, bro. I was so scared. And from that day, man, him became like tight. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And he told me, he say, I trust you. And he say, from now on, he say, you're the special team king. He say, let me tell you something. If you feel you can block the kick, you go block it. We didn't have to, they didn't have no calls for me. That's how promising I was doing what I did. And Coach Davis took pride in them shanking balls. He said, Tremaine Matt, see, and one thing I don't get credit for is that Tremaine Matt was that dude, but he had me. You know what I'm saying? I was right there with him. And he know. Big Pooh Bear Williams, God bless the dead, Florida State. I had to get in there and he hit me, rung my damn bells. Tremaine Matt blocked the kick. When Tremaine Matt left, I had Lil Gene Ridgely. Like he wasn't fast. Like I was like, what the hell? How Nate Brooks and Tremaine Mack. Now Nate Brooks got Legene Ridley. So I had to find my way and get my plays, you know what I'm saying? But he had me, and I gave him my all for him. And that's what I always like to explain to people. Like, motherfucker, T-Mac had me. And I didn't have nobody like him next to me. I had damn Jeff Popovich. You know what I'm saying? I had to make the best out of walk-ons, man. I had people that we'll set down. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Nate, how much rest do you get at night? Because man, you're on a fire. You're just going and going and going.
Yeah,
you sleep all night and talk all day. What's up?
Yeah, we be lit. We be lit right here. But believe it or not, man, at 10 o'clock I go to sleep every night. I never smoked in my life. I never drink. Never been arrested. None of that. 10 o'clock, I'm out of there. Y'all getting close to my time.
Well, we're getting close. I know. Hey, Nate. Well, I can tell you this: you have been everything I thought you were gonna be tonight.
And then
that's what's up, baby.
And I'm telling you, when I thought of you, I said he gonna give it to us. We're gonna let him talk and get it out. Because let me tell you, you've always been a guy I looked at and said, man, that dude there, it's something about him. Every time I talk to you, from the first time I talked to you, I said it's something about that dude. He has a lot of confidence in himself, you know, and to know your story and to see your story and to read about your story. Truly a blessing, man. And I've always been proud of you. And like one of the viewers just said, the funniest interview of all time on this show. You got the
Hey,
award.
I appreciate that, man. And y'all make sure my little son, I named him Marlon after Marlon, and he's into the stock market. So if you want to make some money doing that, y'all can go to his join his class. It's TL3. That's the name of it. He got a penthouse, a Hellcat, and he's doing all kind of stock option trading. And I tell him all the time, that's the battle of the nerds, son. I'm gonna get mine on the ground with the trucks. But I be over there trading some options. I made $12 this morning. I did with 4.
Well, Nate, I tell you this. I don't know about the stock market, but I can tell you this. When your ice cream truck passed through my neighborhood, I'm buying up a lot of shit. How about that?
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Nate, we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. And if one weekend you're not out of town, come to the game, bro. I know you know, when you ain't out of town, come to the game, man. Love to see you, brother.
Oh, that's what's up, man. I appreciate that. I'll stop by.
All right, man. Hey, take care. Be safe on that road, Nate.
All right, go Canes, man.
Okay.
All right, Nate. Thanks for coming out, man.
All you have to do is say hello.
I hope we don't get kicked off YouTube.
Oh yeah, you might. I'm afraid to Caesar on the show. I'm not afraid anymore.
Hey, I knew that Nate was gonna give it everything he had. That's the way he played.
He was awesome.
Oh yeah.
And you know, he brought up Tremaine Mack. Those two guys were special teams demons. And you know, here I wish we had more time, you know, to talk about what mindset of a special team demon. I mean,
it was insane. It was insane. Yeah, like the Chuck Pagano, who would go on to be an NFL head coach, was coaching the special teams. They blocked the kick almost every game.
And that's all they. That's all. I mean, they might have lost some games, but shit, their special team was on point.
Oh my God! Almost every game they blocked the kick. Yeah. It was the craziest thing you've ever seen. Now we go whole seasons and we don't block kicks.
Right. Tremaine Mack was incredible. He's the greatest special team guy other than Devin Hester.
The LT show after dark. Hey, we just gotta let them run sometimes, man. We gotta let them run, let them be themselves. But we appreciate Nate being on, man. That was some good stuff.
I don't think anybody was offended. He was awesome.
He's a talker.
All right, guys. So Bruce, before we let you go, give us some closing parting thoughts.
Like DVJ said, I think we're going to be really into this game. We have to be. I think Mario knows it. Can't lose this game. Can't play poorly. I think we're going to go up there. It's going to be a war. 31-27 Miami. I think we win this game and we redeem ourselves and then sit back and wait for Clemson to come to town with a week off, no less, though. They're off this weekend. And we put it to him, too. Those guys, those two coaches need to get beaten by Miami. It's been a long time, and I'm tired of it. So I say Saturday we win 31-27, and then we'll worry about Clemson next week. But it was a fun show, you guys. LT, good to see you. Gary, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Bruce.
And be safe, everybody. And let's get some of those people back from Israel. They don't belong there.
Yeah.
No doubt, man. All right. So LT,
Yes.
they got derailed last week.
Yes.
No one would argue that. Okay. No. They weren't playing football the way Nate the Great remembers Miami plays football. And it came down to the end, but like I think it was Don Bailey mentioned, there were a lot of things that contributed to that loss, and they got caught. But here's the thing: they have been sitting. I think they've been sitting on these next two games. I don't think Shannon Dawson has shown more than 25% of his offense. I really don't. I think they got a ton of offense loaded up for these next few games. They're going to define the season. That Georgia Tech thing is not going to matter at the end of this thing, because what's the difference between going 9-3 or 8-4 or 7-5 or like there's no difference in that. The only way that what happened last week matters is if they run the table here, right?
Yep. And you know what? It can be done. And I'm not losing hope. I mean, I'm a Cane, man. Unless I'm getting paid by another team, I'm a Cane, and I'm still a Cane, but I gotta do what I gotta do. But it is what it is. I just think that this is gonna be more of a lesson for these guys. One of the viewers talked about Michael Jordan saying, his old saying about, in order to be the person, you got to go through some losses sometimes, and this was a loss that hurt, but certainly we still can achieve the goals that we want to achieve, and if we fall short, and it's because of this game, it'll be one of the greatest lessons ever. But I really believe it's going to teach us something. That's what I'm hoping. That's my mindset, and I'm going to stick to it until 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock on Saturday night when the game's over and TVD is down in the ball and giving it to the coach.
If that happens, what do you think? When I go to the press conference, should I ask Mario what that felt like to knee the ball, or should I just let it go?
I don't know, Gary. I don't know. That might be a little touchy, but he might be so happy about the win. He might laugh it off too.
We'll have to read the room.
Yeah, read the room. That's a good one. Read the room.
But I'll be thinking it. I'll tell you that. I'll be thinking about it. Okay, let's play a little word association here.
All right.
ACC referees.
I think they missed that one, but they came back with their own little deal and said they didn't have, they counted it as a fumble, and maybe they didn't have all the perfect angles that the camera, the picture that's been going around the internet with his elbows down. We shouldn't have let it get to that, but it did. They made the call. We still had a chance to win. We didn't get it done, so let's just move on from there.
Let me ask you a question. A lot of people love to say the ACC has a bias against Miami. The refs have a bias against Miami. The ACC refs always screw Miami. You've heard it a million times. Is there a real bias, or does it? I have a hard time.
That's real hard. The only thing that I've been close to similar to that is being in the SEC and you're going against the team or the teams that are in the top 5. They must bring the conference what they need. And so you ain't going to win the game at Kentucky against Alabama or Georgia if they're in the top 5. They're not going to let it be close because it's all about their conference. I'm not saying the ACC is like this, and maybe I might even get in trouble about saying the SEC is like that, but that was just my opinion. And I used to always go at the refs and say, hey, I guess y'all got to make y'all money as a conference, huh? And they want to throw flags all the time, but I guess they're human, and they do make mistakes. But that last call, I do truly believe it was a bang bang call, and it was a mistake. They had a chance to cover it up by saying it was a fumble, but You know, who knows? They probably were like, all right, let's just give it to them. They're not going to score.
The TV replay really was not. You couldn't.
No,
it was blocked. Kobe
Yeah.
Young was in the way of the play, and the camera angle didn't show the exact moment that the ball came out. But you know, in the big picture, like a successful Miami would mean everything to the ACC. Like, why would they want to hold Miami back?
Yeah, that's why I don't really truly believe that. I mean, you know, I think for the powers to be, they need Miami, they need Florida State, they need Clemson, they need teams like this to do well to keep that national spotlight.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, you know, I think probably every team probably feels the same way. If every call and every twist of fate doesn't go your way, I think
you sound like Bobby Petrino now, because he sure had a deal against the ACC refs. And let me tell you something. I saw two of them on the sideline, and when they saw me, they just started laughing, because I remember talking to them when I was at Louisville, and I would say, "Hey, if you don't want to get yelled at by Bobby, let's move down, son." And they said, "Oh, that's right, that was you."
So they had a bias against Louisville too. When Bobby I was at a hotel in Philadelphia. I was coming back from the Temple game a few weeks ago, and I'm sitting there in the hotel lobby having a drink and having some dinner, and about 100 guys come down a stairway, and it was all of the AC. It was all the NCAA basketball referees. And and they all were hanging out for like 2 hours, drinking and everything, and we were joking about all the bad calls that they make at the Watsco Center and stuff like that.
They're human.
They are definitely human. These guys, there's no doubt about it. But it was like a different perspective. That was cool. All right, Xavier Restrepo.
You know, he's really shown up as TVD's go-to target. I even had one person say, "Man, he looked for him too much."
That was going to be my next question.
If it's working, I mean, I could literally see if it's like their balls, there's 3 guys around him and they're being tipped and they're being intercepted or something else like this. It's obviously shown that it works. You know, he's done a great job this year. That connection has looked really, really good, really sharp. Quarterbacks are human. They know who they depend on. I mean, if you can get your quarterback to believe in you, he's gonna look for you. I have nothing against it. You know, the guy's been playing his butt off. He's been playing well. He's been a leader out there. Hell, throw it to him 30 times. If it's gonna get us a win or get us close to a win, I'm good. You know, it just really upset me to hear a guy say, "Damn, we need to look at the other guy."
Well, here's the question, Lamar. Do the other guys get frustrated because they're open too and they're not getting looks? Do they get frustrated?
Well,
if you're in the game and Horace Copeland's getting all the damn balls and you're not getting to eat a little bit, are you frustrated?
It all depends. It all depends.
You'd be like, Gino, bro, I was in California with you last week.
Hey, look, Gino threw the ball 99 yards to Horace Copeland in the Arkansas game.
I remember
Kevin Williams had a good game against Arkansas. I'm the one that didn't, you know. So it is what it is. I was happy about a win, but I also said, okay, the next week, God damn it, something gonna change because I'm gonna work my behind off in practice where you ain't gonna have no choice but to throw it to me, you know. But yeah. I would say this. I was all about, you know, I wanted the ball, but at the same time, just like against Penn State my senior year, they were dropping 8 people. I remember telling Coach Harrison on the sideline, he said, "What's open?" I said, "Run the ball." It's about winning. It's about winning. At the end of the day, you got to put your personal shit aside to get the win. I knew at the University of Miami, the more we won, the more better we were. That's the way I looked at it.
So hopefully Kobe Young and Jacoby George were working twice as hard in practice this week so that they're in a position to get more balls at North Carolina.
It should. That's the way it should go. You know, hey, work your ass off. Make your quarterback throw it to you. They're human. They know in practice by watching that film if you're the guy that's going to get open for them. If you do that consistently, they're going to throw it to you, whether one or two guys only, because they think that you're going to be able to make the play for them.
Tyler Van Dyke.
CBD, that was probably the worst game I've seen him play. So this week, this is going to be very important for him and Shannon to be on the same page and get a great game plan where, they can get some quick completions like in the beginning of the season, try to work the run game, but get some quick throws in and then work the ball downfield. He has to come back from last week's game. You have to come back from this game and have a better showing than, because you can't let this thing fester. You can't have two bad games in a row. The schedule doesn't permit that. So we got to get a good game out of TVD. And what Bruce said, 72 hours?
Yeah, it's about right. Last but not least, Mario Cristobal.
Man, that's a tough one to digest, Mario. I've sent him some text messages. They all go to green. I don't know if he has me blocked or he just blocked everybody. But, I'm pretty sure it's been a tough week for him. But, bottom line is you got to get these guys to press on. And that's what it's about. You got to press on. That was one of our old sayings when I got to the University of Miami, press on. That means, hey, press on to the next week. It happened, let's go. And that's the message he should be teaching them that, hey, last week was last week. We learned from it. Let's move on. Let's get the hell on. Let's get this victory. Let's press on. Let's get that victory formation in full effect.
Yes, sir. All right, LT, great show tonight. We got to thank Don Bailey and Nate the Great Brooks for coming on as guests. We got to thank all of our sponsors. You see them scrolling across the bottom of the screen right now. CaneSwear, the place for all your game day needs. Visit their store at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, or shop CaneSwear at caneswear.com. They have everything you could possibly want as a Miami Hurricanes fan. The Florida Beach Bowl, started by a former Cane who shall not be named just yet, but soon. The bowl game that'll be at Drive Pink Stadium this December for historical black colleges. And then the law firm of Ratson and Faxadomo. If you need a lawyer, get yourself in a little bit of trouble, they are bulldogs. They will be aggressive representing you. They're skilled criminal lawyers, as you see. So remember them. And then Williamson Cadillac, where Lamar Thomas buys all of his vehicles. If you need a car, go see the guys at Williamson Cadillac. And
don't forget about Jermaine Chambers down there. E.T., yep. My guy down in the finance department.
What the heck? Just ask for Jermaine Chambers. Tell him Lamar Thomas sent you and said that he will make sure you get the best deal on a new Cadillac. And I'm sure they'll take care of you to at least some degree. You never know with these dealerships, but I'm sure they'll do the best.
They do a good job down there.
Yeah, they'll do the best they can. All right, LT, off to North Carolina. We'll see what happens this weekend. I think this is going to be a tough game. I really do. It's a night game on the road. These guys are explosive on offense. I have to be convinced that our defense can hold up for an entire game. I'm a little bit concerned that unless we are scheming a Lance Guidry pressure scheme on a given play, that we are not effective defensively. And when he dials that back a little bit, they really give up a lot of yards and a lot of plays. I mean, I think back to the second half of the Texas A&M game where they gave up almost 300 yards of offense in the second half. He kind of like laid it all out there in the first half, was blitzing almost every single play. Texas A&M didn't know what hit him. He dialed it back a little bit in the third quarter, and they were giving up chunks of yards, whatever. Somehow they were able to stay ahead and win the game. But I think about 75 yards in 25 seconds the other night with the game on the line. And this team can throw the ball. They can run the ball. This is going to be a tough game. But I do think that these kids will go up there ready to play. And I think it'll be a game in the fourth quarter, LT.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this, regardless of what happened last week, it was going to be a tough test. But I thought that, and I still think that we have a great chance to go out there and get a win against UNC, primarily because it's our turn.
Yeah,
it's been a while, and I think this is an opportunity for Mario to put some of those things to rest and I'm pretty sure that staff and those kids will be ready on Saturday, and I'm looking forward to the victory formation. That's all I want to see is the victory formation by the Miami Hurricanes. At the end of the game, we win, and we can tell everybody, screw you.
That's right, man. Just get it to the fourth quarter, make some plays, and then end it right this time, and you'll be the talk of college football. Everyone will be talking about how the Miami Hurricanes ended it right.
Even Paul Feinberg or whatever the freaking name is.
Yeah,
Feinberg.
He was brutal, man. Wow. All right, LT, we will see you next week, and we thank everybody for watching tonight. And go Canes.
Go Canes.